Welcome to this week's live strategy session. Thanks for joining me. Great to have you with me. Plenty to talk about today. Lots going on in the ASX 200. And then, of course, we've got the small caps. There's plenty to talk about in the commodities with gold, copper, oil and uranium. And I've got a couple of stocks I want to show you a little bit later on as well, which I think you're going to find interesting. And before we get into all of that, as always, this is general commentary only, no personal advice given. Said all that, I think it's time we get straight into these charts. This has been a milestone week in the ASX 200. We're getting this new all-time high. Market hasn't never been here before, new territory. You can see these previous levels from back in 2021, 2022, and we're now breaking above there. Got above there a couple of days ago, making a new high above there now. Not so much. We're not seeing this in the all ordinaries as yet, but I think that will come. I think that's going to come in due course. It's the big stocks which are leading the charge at the moment, and all-time highs. All-time highs are a really interesting thing. When you look at this and you look at markets, you call up any indice over time, or even a stock, you call up a stock, and you talk about all-time highs. And the thing with all-time highs is a lot of people look at an all-time high and they think there's something to worry about. They think that, look, an all-time high means a market must be peaking, must be close to turning lower. But all-time highs, they're interesting in that they typically lead to more new highs as time goes on. So not getting me wrong and thinking an all-time high means that you're going to get day in, day out, new highs just going on and on and on. It doesn't work like that. There's always going to be those consolidations, going to get those pullbacks. But it's another indicator, an all-time high is another indicator that the overall trend, or you could say that the path of least resistance is very much to the top side. And we've also seen bullish price action in some of the key financial stocks over the last few months. And you'd be familiar with the financial. This is a financial BetaShares ASX 200 financial index. So this is something we looked at back in November, December. We could see that positive price momentum coming through, and it very much was a case of that overall positive backdrop, which we're now seeing come through in the ASX 200. And we're talking about one of the big financial stocks last week in the when we talk about the two stock segment, and yeah, it's been one of those underpinnings of the current rally that we're getting. So coming back to the ASX 200 and just like bringing things back to where we currently are. So new all-time high today. So where does that take us from here? Are we about to see this sequence of new highs over the near term, over the next few weeks, or are we getting close to some sort of consolidation? So my feeling, as you know, over the last couple of weeks is I've been talking about the prospect of some consolidation. We did start to get some consolidation. We came back to the 50-day moving average. I thought maybe we're going to move within a range for maybe several more weeks, but so far that hasn't been happening. We're getting this rebound off the 50-day moving average, and we're breaking to new highs now. I still feel there hasn't been enough consolidation off this October low, but look, you don't know. We don't know. We don't know whether prices will just continue up or whether they pull back. And I think one of the things which I am looking at the moment, I'm going to show you the relative strength index, the RSI. And when I do look at this is one of those things which does make me feel there is still more consolidation in the makings, that we just don't get a runaway breakout. So you can see whilst the ASX 200 has made a new high, when we look at the RSI hasn't continued on and broken above the December high. So this isn't a be-all of end-all indicator by any means, but it's one of those things which is worth watching. I don't think it's warning of a topping phase by any stretch, but I think it does indicate the possibility that there is more of a pause in this trend coming before we potentially see a much larger rally over the months ahead. And as I've been saying for a while, I think the setup that we have, and this has been very much the case since we had that false break lower in October. We had the rally back, and then since, say, probably like early to mid-November, it's been a case of this setup's favoured being long stocks and been continuing to build a position. And that's what I've been doing. As you know, I've been saying through these videos, and I showed you my portfolio a couple of weeks, and then using those wide trailing stops. So that's how I'm managing my portfolio in this current situation, as we've approached resistance, as we've pulled back, rather than trying to preempt tops or call tops. It's been, well, look, the momentum's to the top side. Stay with that momentum. Let's see where that momentum takes us. And then by using the wide stop, hopefully seeing off pullbacks if and when they come. And I think the big advantage of using this type of trailing stop strategy is that it can help keep you on board. So if the market continues to run now, I'm on board. Hopefully you're on board. Hopefully you've got those positions that you've been building as the market's been rallying, and the trailing stop. It's one of those mechanisms of being able to help manage your downside risk in case the market stalls and pulls back, or it even starts to really fall away. It helps manage that downside risk, but it keeps your upside open when prices are moving higher. So I've selectively added some stocks in the last week, bought one today. I'm being a bit more conservative, whilst the ASX 200 is really around this key overhead resistance around 7,620. It's not a decisive break at this stage. It's very much an encouraging break, but as I've been saying, around this possibility of consolidation. So that's why I'm being a little bit more conservative with adding new stocks, but very much wanting to be positioned within the market. If I didn't have a position now, and this is an interesting factor, like what do you do? What do you do if you've been watching the market through this last couple of years? You've been out, you don't have a position. What do you do? And this is an area where I think a lot of people get stuck, and they freeze and they do nothing, and they end up on the sidelines. Now, this is really important. This has been a big 2-year range. Big ranges often lead to big moves when the range finishes. Sometimes we get a false break and markets come back, but I think you've got to be optimistic when you get a breakout and say, well, look, we've got a breakout. Let's go with the breakout. Let's see where the breakout goes. So if I was looking at this now and I didn't have a position, I'd be thinking, well, look, I've got to get a position. And with this current breakout, maybe I'd give it a little bit further. Maybe I'd give another 10 or 20 points just in case we do get a pullback. Start to develop, and I'll talk about the US markets in a separate video. But in the event that doesn't happen, I just don't want to keep sitting on sidelines and watching. I think I'd be biting the bullet. I'd be buying individual stocks that are breaking out, or if I wasn't playing individual stocks, I'd buy an ETF, an ASX 200 ETF, and just say, look, I've got to be long. It's a big range. We're breaking from the range. I think I've got to be long stocks, so I'll take a position. I know a lot of people got stuck during this big rally during 2020, 2021. They felt they missed the initial move, and they just kept waiting. They kept telling me, a lot of people kept telling me, I'm waiting for the next crash to get in. And well, as we know, there was no next crash, and the market kept rallying, and a lot of people missed out. A lot of people stayed on the sidelines. So when you get such a clear-cut break from range, I think we've got to take it seriously and be positioned. Small ordinaries, that's got some pretty clear-cut levels. I'm going to show you those in a moment. I think they provide some interesting entry opportunities as well. And then also into the commodities, and I've got a couple of stocks I want to show you, which I think, in this situation, one of them's very much a breakout. Well, really, they're both breakout situations, so I think very relevant to what we're talking about today. Now, look, if you're getting some value from this, please hit that like button, leave a short comment, let me know what you're thinking, and of course that wraps up the free section of the video. I'm going to move on to the strategy session member content now. If you're not a strategy session member, think about coming across, clicking that link below, and becoming a strategy session member. It doesn't cost you very much, a really inexpensive way to hopefully get some good ideas about how you might be able to position your portfolio, and of course some of the stocks you might be able to consider buying. Okay, so let's go over and have a look at this small ordinaries.